week 2 of a high-profile federal trial against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, facing charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs stood accused of orchestrating a criminal enterprise that spanned 2 decades. Prosecutors alleged that Combs exploited his businesses and employees to facilitate and conceal illicit activities, including arranging drug-fueled sexual encounters, termed freak-offs, and employing violence and threats to maintain control over victims. Central to the prosecution's case was the testimony of Cassandra "Cassie" Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend and a key witness. Ventura detailed a decade-long relationship marked by manipulation, coercion, and abuse. She recounted instances where Combs allegedly forced her into non-consensual sexual acts, often involving third parties, and described being subjected to physical violence, including beatings and threats. Ventura testified that Combs used his influence to control her career and personal life, threatening to release explicit videos to ensure her compliance. Homeland Security Special Agent Yasin Binda testified about a search conducted in Combs' hotel room following his arrest in September 2024. Agents discovered various items, including a hard drive, a black fanny pack containing $9,000 in cash, as well as lots of baby oil, and a prescription bottle labeled under the alias Frank Black, which previously contained clonazepam, which is apparently used to treat everything from anxiety and panic disorders to psychosis. But there was also an evidence photo of 5 bottles of baby oil and lubricant sitting in the bathtub by the drain, as well as 2 more bottles of lubricant in the drawer of the nightstand. They just kept finding it. There was also a Ziploc bag full of Johnson's baby oil bottles, and it kind of seems that Combs was always on the hunt for more lubricant, because take a look at this short email which was shown in court earlier in the week. It was sent to a member of his staff at midnight with a subject line of "I need some baby oil" and Astroglide, and then the sign off, "God bless Diddy." There was also evidence photos shown of another prescription bottle, which agents say contained 2 bags of a pink powdery substance. Notably, numerous bottles of baby oil and lubricant were found throughout the room, consistent with items seized from Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles earlier that year. Additionally, a Ziploc bag containing pink powdery substance tested positive for ketamine, a drug Ventura claimed was used during the freak-offs to impair victims' judgment and resistance. All of this is fascinating now. Why? We know that Combs came to New York willingly, most likely to turn himself into the police, don't we? He was aware that he would face charges. Furthermore, didn't he need to be aware that he would face charges related to freak-offs? One of the main accusations is that he utilized medicines to keep the victims in compliance. He must have been aware, after all, that Cassandra Ventura was assisting the authorities with her claims in the civil lawsuit she had brought against him the previous year, discussed everything, and included all of these accusations. He therefore needed to be aware of the reason for his detention. Furthermore, we are aware that one of the fundamental predicate crimes for a racketeering conspiracy is the possession of drugs and what takes place. According to reports, he arrives in New York with proof of those crimes and freak-offs, because he isn't being charged of crimes that happened 20 years ago. According to the allegations, he was apprehended in 2024 with the same materials and is supposedly still involved in this business in order to perhaps sustain charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Combs' defense team acknowledged the presence of drugs and the occurrence of unconventional sexual activities, but contended that all acts were consensual. They argued that the cash found was not indicative of criminal activity and that the freak-offs, while elaborate, did not constitute sex trafficking or racketeering. The defense emphasized that any violence in the relationship was mutual and not part of a broader criminal enterprise. The evidence and testimony has made it abundantly clear that Combs often had his staff set up freak-offs in hotel rooms, even bringing in things like mood lighting and cameras. Also not illegal, but Cassie testified that she often felt she was being manipulated or coerced into participating in the sex acts with prostitutes. That would be illegal, not only because of threats that she said Combs made against her, but because he had so much control over her life and could make everything come tumbling down if he wanted to. Cassie testified that Combs threatened on multiple occasions to release videos of the freak-offs, even reportedly showing her that he still had videos that he said he deleted from his phone. So, Ventura testified, he would mash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head if I was down. When asked how frequently was Sean physical with you during your relationship, she responded, "Too frequently." And she was asked, "Were you ever injured as a result of these incidents?" And she replied, "Yes, I would get knots in my forehead, busted lips, swollen lips, black eyes, the whites in my eyes would be red, bruised bruises all over my body, just depending. There have been multiple witnesses who told the jury that they saw Combs physically abusing Cassie. Multiple witnesses corroborated Ventura's accounts of abuse. Dawn Richard, a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, testified that she observed injuries on Ventura and advised her to leave Combs. Harry Morgan, Ventura's former best friend, recounted witnessing Combs physically assault Ventura on at least 2 occasions. Daniel Phillips, a man allegedly hired by Combs to engage in sexual acts with Ventura, testified about hearing slapping sounds after Combs dragged Ventura into a room. These testimonies supported the prosecution's narrative of a pattern of coercion and abuse. All of this is significant since Cassie's and eyewitness accounts testimony aligns with the criminal indictment's sex trafficking and racketeering elements. According to Cassie's evidence, she may have been the victim of trafficking because she was allegedly pressured, deceived, or forced into having freak-offs. In addition to his testimony about Combs allegedly assaulting Cassie and suggesting compelled sexual acts that were ordered, Daniel Phillips' testimony raises the possibility of sex trafficking as well as the possibility of prostitution trafficking. A pivotal piece of evidence was surveillance footage from the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, dated 2016. The video showed Combs appearing to hit, kick, and drag Ventura while wearing only a towel and socks. Ventura testified that she was attempting to leave after a freak-off when Combs assaulted her. Footage, combined with Ventura's testimony and photographs of her injuries, bolstered the prosecution's claims of physical abuse used to maintain control over victims. It shows force was allegedly used to maintain control over Cassie, that the video or the footage combined with other testimony about threats and career control. It could support the claim that Cassie could not leave. She was trafficked under duress. There were allegations that Combs tried to bribe a security guard at the hotel from speaking up about this alleged attack. Ventura recounted an incident during the Cannes Film Festival in France, where Combs allegedly accused her of stealing drugs and expelled her from his yacht without shoes. She testified that Combs retained her belongings, including her passport, and later, during a movie premiere, he squeezed her thigh painfully while they sat together. On the return flight to New York, Ventura claimed Combs showed her explicit videos of the freak-offs, reinforcing his control over her through threats of exposure. Ventura's relationship with rapper Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi, became a focal point in the trial. Ventura testified that Combs became enraged upon discovering their relationship, allegedly threatening her and demanding $20,000 from her parents to recoup expenses. Regina Ventura, Cassie's mother, corroborated this, stating that she and her husband took out a home equity loan to pay Combs, fearing for their daughter's safety. Prosecutors alleged that Combs even went as far as to blow up Kid Cudi's car in his driveway, illustrating the lengths he would go to exert control and retaliate against perceived betrayals. Prosecutors aimed to demonstrate that Combs' actions were not isolated incidents, but part of a systematic pattern of abuse and coercion. They argued that the freak-offs were orchestrated events involving drug use, manipulation, and threats, all facilitated by Combs' staff and resources. The prosecution contended that these actions constituted a criminal enterprise designed to satisfy Combs' desires while silencing and controlling his victims. Trial's outcome holds significant implications for the music industry and the broader conversation around power dynamics and abuse. Conviction could result in a life sentence for Combs and set a precedent for holding influential figures accountable for exploiting their positions. The case underscores the importance of consent, the legal boundaries of personal relationships, especially when intertwined with professional hierarchies. Trial has garnered widespread media attention, with public opinion divided. Supporters of Ventura commend her courage in coming forward, while others question the motivations behind the allegations. The case has sparked discussions about the prevalence of abuse in the entertainment industry and the challenges victims face in seeking justice.